My name is Blake, and the night I came home earlier than my wife expected,
I've missed you so
I heard
much.
something behind our bedroom door that changed the way I would remember my marriage forever.
Don't stop, babe.
I could have ended the mystery in 1 second, but something inside me stopped my hand because I already knew that whatever was behind it would destroy everything.
My name is Blake, and the night I came home earlier than my wife expected, I heard something behind our bedroom door that changed the way I would remember my marriage forever. Don't stop, babe. Those 4 words came through the door. Soft, breathless, intimate, and definitely not meant for me. I stood in the hallway with my keys still between my fingers. I had been looking forward to surprising my wife. A meeting had been canceled at work, so I drove home early. I remember smiling as I pulled into the driveway. I remember thinking I might take her somewhere for dinner. Instead, I stood outside our bedroom listening to the woman I had loved for 8 years speak to another man. My first instinct was to open the door. My hand actually reached for the handle. Then I stopped. Something inside me whispered that once I opened that door, there would be no going back. So I stepped away. I walked into the kitchen, placed my keys on the counter, and waited. A few minutes later, I heard movement upstairs, then silence. When my wife finally walked into the kitchen, she looked surprised to see me. "Blake?" I looked at her. She smiled nervously. "You're home early." I smiled back. "Yeah." That was all I said. Because at that moment, I understood something. She still believed she was lying to me. She didn't know I had already heard the truth. And I wasn't going to tell her. Not yet. Her name was Claire. For 8 years, I had trusted her without hesitation. I knew her habits, her expressions, the little things she did when she was nervous. That night, she kept touching her hair. She always did that when she was hiding something. I noticed. I said nothing. At dinner, she talked about work. A new project. A difficult client. A meeting that supposedly lasted until 6. I listened. Every word. But one detail wouldn't leave my mind. Her bedroom. That voice. "Don't stop, babe." I had never heard her speak like that to me. And somehow that hurt more than the possibility of another man. The next morning, I noticed a coffee cup in the dishwasher. It wasn't mine. It wasn't hers. Claire always drank coffee from the same white mug. This one was black. I picked it up. There was a faint lipstick mark on the rim. I stared at it for several seconds. Then I put it back. I didn't accuse her. I didn't ask questions. Instead, I started noticing things I had previously ignored. Her phone was suddenly always face down. She changed her password. She began taking calls outside. And whenever I entered a room unexpectedly, her conversation stopped. One evening, I casually asked her about work. "Who's handling the new project with you?" She hesitated. "Daniel." That name meant nothing to me then. But the way she said it did. There was familiarity in her voice. Comfort. Something that shouldn't have existed. I looked down at my dinner and made a decision. I would find out who Daniel was, but I wouldn't let Claire know I was looking. I became a different kind of husband. Not colder. Not angrier. Just quieter. Claire thought I was exhausted from work. That was perfect. I stopped asking where she had been. Instead, I watched when she came home. I stopped asking who called. Instead, I noticed who made her leave the room. And slowly, patterns appeared. Every Thursday, Claire claimed she had a late meeting. Every Thursday, Daniel's name appeared somewhere. A calendar notification. An email. A message. Nothing that could prove anything. But together, they formed a picture I didn't want to see. One afternoon, I checked our joint credit card statement. There was a restaurant charge from a place across town. 2 dinners. $186. Claire had told me she ate at the office that night. I stared at the screen. Then I laughed quietly. Not because it was funny. Because I finally understood how easy lying had become for her. I didn't confront her. Instead, I started documenting everything. Dates, times, receipts, messages. I even contacted the restaurant. The manager couldn't give me details, but he confirmed the reservation had been made for 2. That was enough to make my chest feel hollow. Still, I needed certainty. One night, Claire fell asleep beside me. Her phone vibrated. She reached for it without opening her eyes, then stopped. I watched her screen light up. A message preview appeared. "Daniel, I missed last night already." Claire turned the phone over. She never saw me looking. I closed my eyes, pretended to sleep. Inside, something broke. But something else became very clear. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to scream. I was going to know everything. 3 days later, I found the missing piece. Claire had left her old tablet in a drawer. She thought it was dead. It wasn't. There were messages. Months of them. Plans. Excuses. Hotel reservations. Private jokes. Promises. And photographs that confirmed what I had already suspected. Daniel wasn't just someone from work. He had been her secret for almost a year. But then I found something worse. A message from Claire. Blake suspects nothing. I'm going to leave him after the holidays. I read it twice, then a third time. I didn't feel rage. I felt empty. Apparently, she had already planned my replacement before I even knew I had been replaced. That evening, Claire came home smiling. She kissed my cheek. I watched her put her bag down. Then I placed a folder on the table. She looked at it. What's this? Open it. Her fingers trembled as she pulled out the first page. Hotel receipts. Messages. Photographs. Everything. Her face changed. Blake. I raised my hand. Don't. She started crying. I simply watched. Then I asked the question I already knew the answer to. Were you ever going to tell me? She couldn't speak. That silence answered me. I nodded. That's all I needed. Claire expected anger. I could see it in her face. She was waiting for shouting. Accusations. Maybe even tears. I gave her none of those things. Instead, I slid another envelope across the table. She stared at it. What is that? Your freedom. She opened it. Inside was a copy of our separation agreement. Already prepared. Already reviewed by my lawyer. Her eyes widened. You planned this? No. I looked directly at her. You did. She started crying harder. I can explain. I know. That confused her. I continued. I know you were planning to leave me after the holidays. She froze. I know about Daniel. Silence. And I know you told him you loved him. Her face collapsed. For the first time, she looked genuinely afraid. Not afraid of losing me. Afraid that she had lost control. That was the difference. I stood up. She grabbed my wrist. Blake, please. I gently pulled away. No. That one word felt heavier than everything else I had said. I walked upstairs. Packed one suitcase. Nothing dramatic. No broken photographs. No screaming. Just clothes. Documents. My watch. The wedding ring stayed on the table. When I reached the front door, Claire was still crying. She whispered my name. I looked back once. I hope he was worth it. Then I walked out. I spent the first night in a hotel. Not because I had nowhere else to go. Because I needed somewhere that contained no memories. For years, I had believed betrayal was about another person taking something from you. I was wrong. Betrayal is realizing the person beside you had already left emotionally, while you were still building a future with them. That realization hurt, but it also freed me. Claire called 23 times the next morning. I didn't answer. Daniel called once. I blocked him. Eventually, the messages stopped. The explanations stopped. The apologies stopped. And strangely, so did the pain. Not immediately, but slowly. Like a wound finally realizing it no longer needed to bleed. Months later, I returned to the house for the last of my things. The bedroom looked exactly the same. Same curtains. Same bed, same walls. But it didn't feel like my life anymore. I stood in the doorway for a moment and remembered those words. Don't stop, babe. Once they had destroyed me. Now they sounded like evidence from a life that no longer belonged to me. I closed the door behind me. I didn't forgive her. I didn't hate her either. I simply stopped caring. And that was the one thing she had never prepared for. She thought losing me would break me. She never realized it would finally set me free.